At the end of 2004, I took a trip to Kenya to go on a safari because I love photography and I wanted to take a lot of pictures. And when I came back, I got sick.
We got back in November, and by December, he was hospitalized flat. I mean, and it ultimately ended up being on a ventilator, and you know, his neurologist, who we've since become good friends with, said, you know, he did not even think that he was gonna live at a few different points through the treatment.
He was in very bad shape where we weren't sure if he would even make it.
There were so many people that came in his room and just prayed for him. I mean, close friends that just loved him and wanted him to be well. And we were all so afraid.
So the day I left the hospital, I remember my neurologist, Dr. Roy Meckler, he came in and he says, all right, today we're gonna send you home and just a few things. He let me know how worried he was that I was never gonna make it out of the hospital. I was so sick. He said I was the sickest MS patient he'd ever had in his career. And he didn't think I'd make it out. And he said, so I just want you to go home and I want you to relax. We're not gonna send you home with any medicine or anything. You've had so much while you've been in the hospital. He goes, we want to detox you, so I want you to call my office in about a month. He said, and you tell them you're my miracle patient and that you need an appointment. He said, they'll know who you are. It turns out they did know who I was, and I did say I was the miracle patient. Once I was diagnosed, I was approached by Dr. Roy Meckler and also Yvette Rojas. So they wanted to put together an MS center, and they asked me if I'd be on the board of directors. And I said, yeah, I would do that. So I spent a long time and a lot of effort helping put together this MS center. It turned out to be beautiful. And it was so beautiful and perfect, in fact, that one of the big medical centers here in Louisville picked it up and brought it into their umbrella. And it's now part of the Norton Neuroscience Institute. One of the things when I got out of the hospital and kind of got back on my feet, I thought we need to have our own building. We need to own our own building. It needs to be cool, like the company is cool. It needs to have some character because the company has character. And at that time, downtown was hopping. It is now, but at that time there was kind of a resurgence. And I decided, hey, let's go to a location in downtown because we were a growing, creative, kind of young, energetic company, and that's what was happening in downtown Louisville. And lo and behold, we came up with this building, and there was just something about it. Although it was in bankruptcy and foreclosure, there were no windows or doors, there was no running wires, no electricity, and I remember thinking, oh my God, this is the best building ever. We should take this building. I was the only one out of all the employees, all of my co-workers, who thought this was a good idea.
When we first bought the building coming in here and seeing what it looked like before, it was crazy. The upstairs is what freaked me out. Like, it was room after room, dark paneling. I just remember that. And there was one room that was looked like it had an axe chopped through the wall and like something red on the wall, and I was just like, ooh.
One of the most surprising things we learned when we were rehabbing this building, 809 South 8th Street, was the contractor we were working with, the Muellers, was that they were awesome. Normally, by the time you're done with the project, you hate your contractor. We loved them. And so we actually started doing more projects together. All the buildings that we bought and rehabbed since, which there's one straight ahead, there's one to my side, there's two to my back, and there's one more on the way. They have actually rehabbed all those buildings. They've become great partners to Flavorman.
So when Flavorman opened the 809 building, in addition to Dave, creating all kinds of displays to make it look fuller, we were all allowed to invite as many people as we wanted because he wanted to make it look as full as it possibly could. So I know we invited John's parents and my parents and neighbors, and we invited a whole bunch of people.
So when this building was ready and it was opened up, we had a grand opening, and it was grand. We probably had about 200 people in here. The mayor came and did a little speech, and I remember, once we got in here, it was so big.
Just the lab itself, I mean, it was cavernous when we moved in there, and it was like, I can't we'll never fill this place up. I mean, it was funny. I mean, we were moving stuff around and just trying to make it look fuller at the time when we moved in because it looked so empty.
It just opened up everything, and when you work in an environment in which it feels like the sky's the limit because of space, the sky becomes the limit.